Trump still has a significant lead at 54%. And here, unlike in some other places, which there's been some fair criticism for, Donald Trump has an outstanding ground game. He has the support of a large number of county chairmen, so those are the people that would be appointing the delegates in all these congressional districts that he's winning. So I'm confident in a couple things, that we have a large victory at night, and we end up with the lion's share of all 95 delegates.
Joseph Borelli, co-chair for Donald Trump's New York campaign, on CNN's New Day this morning, discussing tomorrow night's New York primary. Donald Trump is expected to win big in his home state, but as we saw over the weekend, Wyoming had all of its delegates go to Ted Cruz. So in response, the Donald is suggesting a loyalty pledge. Let's talk about this with our political panel. We welcome conservative activist Julio Rivera, also the host of the political podcast Conserva Rican and Friends, which you can find at weareamericaradio.com. He joins us tonight from Newsmax, New York, and joining us from Newsmax, Washington, columnist for The Hill, Brent Budowsky, former aide to United States Senator Lloyd Bentsen of Texas. Gents, we appreciate your time and want to thank you both. And I will start with you, Brent. You must get a kick looking across the aisle at what is happening in the Republican Party. Your take on Donald suggesting that delegates who support him, if there is a contested convention, sign a loyalty pledge to stay with him on every ballot.
Well, he's on the right track. A little bit late in the game, I'm afraid. When Donald says that the Republican leadership establishment is trying to steal the nomination, he is right. When Reince Priebus says that the rules were written in October, he is right. The problem is Donald's supposed to be some brilliant deal maker. He's like the guy that made a real estate deal in October, but didn't read Clause 1, Clause 9, and Clause 12. So he didn't know what he signed. He got screwed on the deal, and now he's complaining. So they're both right.
All right, well, let me turn to Julio, and we should point out for the record that Julio is a Ted Cruz supporter. So, Mr. Rivera, you obviously are strong for the Texas senator. I imagine you look a bit askance at the notion of Mr. Trump asking the delegates pledged to him to sign a loyalty pledge for every ballot at the Cleveland convention.
Well, to be honest with you, if you look at his delegates, which he wins, if they stay with him, that's not really a big issue. The issue he's going to have is with the uncommitted beyond the first ballot delegates, because they weren't Trump delegates. If they want to vote for someone else, they can. In the state of New Jersey, it's a winner-take-all state, but the delegates are allocated by congressional district. And if our congressional district wins and our delegates go, which I'm one of them, I may have to vote for Donald Trump on the first ballot. After the first ballot, then I'm uncommitted and I can vote for Senator Ted Cruz. So, I mean, for someone who's won 37% of the popular vote and has gotten 45% of the delegates, I don't understand this belly aching from Donald Trump.
Well, it is a political argument that carries a lot of weight. Earlier on this program, there was quite a discussion with former New York Lieutenant Governor Betsy McCoy saying the system is rigged to a point, and not a lot of grassroots activists, but a lot of party regulars. So that division between the party regulars and the grassroots, between the establishment, if you will, and the rising wave of populism, that's what's at work. But look, we don't want to leave the Democrats out of this thing. They have a primary in New York tomorrow, too. And according to a new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, Bernie Sanders now within 2 points of Hillary. She has dropped 9 percentage points in the last month. Brent, what are you expecting in the Empire State tomorrow?
Oh, I think that Hillary's probably going to win by somewhere between 8 and 12 points. I think the same will more likely than not happen in Pennsylvania a week later. But there's also no question that Bernie is gaining steam nationally. I have tried and pleaded and begged with Democrats to try to think about why it is that Bernie defeats every Republican in almost all polls by such large margins, and why he runs stronger than Hillary. I happen to think there's a progressive populist wave. The problem is the Democrats have a system that advantages Hillary. She will win New York, probably by a significant margin. I'd be surprised if that didn't happen. But you're right. You know, the polls are showing Bernie nationally surging, and Bernie's favorables are higher than any Democrat and almost every Republican. And people ought to think about why. There is a populist progressive surge. That's been my view for 6 years.
And in that vein, it's interesting to see what happens on both sides of the aisle in reaction to the populism. To wit, over the weekend, movie star George Clooney sponsoring two big fundraisers for Hillary out in Hollywood and its environs. One event cost as much as, $300,000 a couple to dine with George and Hillary? When he was asked about that fundraiser, let's listen to what Clooney said in response.
It is an obscene amount of money. The Sanders campaign, when they talk about it, is absolutely right. It's ridiculous that we should have this kind of money in politics. I agree.
So I 15 seconds on this, just very quickly. Julio, to hear George Clooney say it's too much money, is this kind of a backhanded slap? Is this going to hurt Hillary and her campaign?
Well, I think that campaign is mostly wrapped up based on their system of superdelegates. I mean, I think Hillary Clinton's going to run away with this thing. Bernie Sanders, to his credit, is at least not complaining quite as badly about their system, but their system of allocating delegates is worse than the Republicans.
And we will have to leave it there. Julio Rivera, Newsmax New York, Brent Budowsky, Newsmax Washington, we thank you for your time. We'd like to take a moment now to thank you for watching Newsmax TV. As you know, Newsmax TV is America's fastest growing news channel, available in over 43 million homes. And tonight, we're excited to announce that Newsmax TV is now available on Apple TV. But if you don't have Apple TV, don't worry. You can watch Newsmax TV almost anywhere. For our complete guide on where you can watch Newsmax TV, simply go to newsmaxtv.com/find Newsmax TV. Please tell your friends and help spread the word. Newsmax TV. Real news, better talk.